What if Bill Gates disappeared?
No problem. I will buy many gates and solve the problem.
Oh, some. Firstly, Bill Gates is the third richest person. If Bill Gates disappeared, a highly respected billionaire will be missed by many. Secondly, Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation is the largest private charitable foundation worldwide. If Bill Gates disappeared, philanthropy will take a big hit. Thirdly, Bill Gates co-founded the Giving Pledge. Herein, billionaires pledge at least half of their wealth to philanthropy. If Bill Gates disappeared, this wonderful initiative may die down. Fourthly, Bill Gates is a leader in the climate change fight. If Bill Gates disappeared, climate conservation efforts may take a hit. Fifthly, Bill Gates has funded many startups working in clean energy. If Bill Gates disappeared, fossil fuels might make a comeback. Lastly, if Bill Gates disappeared, Warren Buffett, the famous American investor, will dearly miss his best friend.
Wow. Yes, that is a cartoon video promoted by YouTube specifically made for children, comparing Bill Gates to Iron Man, Superman, Batman, and telling you if he disappears, the people on the planet would suffer greatly. Yeah, nothing to see here. Welcome back, beautiful and amazing human beings. This is Luke Rudkowski of WeAreChange.org. Lots of utter propaganda, lunacy, and insanity to uncover in today's videos, which of course we will. But our main focus will be highlighting the transition of the next crisis that of course will be promoted by the elites. Lots of very interesting things happening right now, especially with the numbers. But before we get into that, plus a lot more, yes, that was a creepy video made by the channel It's Awesome Time that has 2.23 million subscribers, pushing political propaganda on children by talking about Iron Man, Batman, and other folklore heroes, and then bringing up Bill Gates, which they forgot to mention actually doubled his wealth ever since he decided to, quote, donate all of it. They also forgot to conveniently talk about the larger Bill chill that is happening in the scientific community, and that Bill Gates is on his way completing a monopoly and the domination of the global food supply chain, as of course he was a major proponent behind Monsanto and GMOs. But yeah, who knows, maybe in the next cartoon they'll conveniently mention that. Which again, I highly doubt. But again, if you want to control the minds of the men and women of this country, you definitely have to get them young. And using political propaganda against them should be obviously discouraged, to say the least. Let children be children. But of course, many powerful entities understand that if you're able to propagandize someone when they're young, that will allow your propaganda efforts to be more fruitful. And that's why it's very interesting to see our President Joe Biden make his own personal directives that, of course, prevent the public from knowing the Chinese influence over our education system, as of course many organizations tied to the Communist Chinese political party have been donating egregious amounts of money to universities and public school systems in the United States. And I think it's fair to say that when you compare our school system to the Chinese or even the Indian school system, there's absolutely no comparison, and we are being left in the dust. As even, we're getting reports that some schools in Oregon are being informed asking students to show their work in math class is, quote, white supremacy culture. I'm not kidding you. These are some of the initial reports that we're getting here. Yes, we can't believe that report ourselves, but what did you expect from a ruling establishment that wants you to focus on tiny DNA differential variations as the cause of all of your problems? Yes, it's because someone has a different variation of DNA why everything in the world is wrong. Don't look at the power elites. Look at your neighbor, since of course to the establishment, fighting yourselves is a lot better than anyone even daring to question them. As even individuals like Dr. Drew are being shut down on YouTube for allegedly not coming from medical professionals, as of course Dr. Drew is a medical professional. Now Dr. Drew is not the only one specifically targeted here, as of course many people daring to speak out against the narrative are, as according to Mr. Beam, attacked by a, quote, medieval mob looking for someone to burn. And from understanding the cultural or political landscape for a number of years now, I think he is absolutely correct. Especially since, the mainstream media gets carte blanche, gets to do whatever it wants, but people daring to question what they're saying, they're the ones that get censored. Meanwhile, the New York Times that just openly had to write a correction about them absolutely fabricating a story about a Capitol police officer who was allegedly beaten with a fire extinguisher, now we're finding out that that wasn't the case at all. They just made it up. Will there be any consequences for their fake news, for them lying to the American public? I highly doubt it. Or what about the CBC, who said that there was a, quote, disinformation campaign that was falsely suggesting that Canadians will be forcibly sent to quarantine sites? Meanwhile, today they are reporting that people are being sent to quarantine sites. They were wrong. They lied. But they still get promoted, especially in the algorithms, especially in the search results, especially in the next videos that play. YouTube still allows these larger liars, quote, spreaders of big fake news to be on their platform without any repercussions. What's going on here? But you ding and you attack me, and you make sure no one finds me in the search algorithm. You kick me out the partner program. You demonetize me. Yeah, so in the meantime of us getting our livelihood taken away, check out our t-shirt store, which, by the way, you could get shirts like the one I'm wearing right now, or a whole bunch of other ones, including ones that were previously censored before. Yes, there's a large number of the shirts that we have up now on our website, thebestpoliticalshirts.com. That is the website. The link is down in the description below. Click on it right now. Check out all the amazing merchandise we got. Not just shirts, but a whole bunch of creative, crazy, wild ideas that I had in my head that now a whole bunch of people all over the United States are wearing. This is one great, amazing way to actually find a community, find someone like-minded in your area, wear this to your supermarket. I do. I get stopped by a lot of people. I get lots of thumbs up. I love seeing the reaction some of these shirts get by some people. And you can exclusively get them on thebestpoliticalshirts.com. And I started that URL because many people said, hey, you literally have the best political shirts. So I just put a .com on it, and here's our URL. Click on it. I'm sure you will be surprisingly checking out all the great deals that we have for you going on right now. Now, very interestingly, when Bill Gates isn't being glorified in cartoon characters compared to Superman, he's also recently been doing a lot of mainstream media interviews, specifically a very interesting one that he just did with 60 Minutes, which right now on YouTube is the number 12th video that is trending. It's also important to point out that the trending list on YouTube is manipulated and not based off any actual metrics. As in the making of this video, it is already getting a lot of downvotes, and people surprised that comments are still allowed for this video. But before we get into some of the very interesting comments down below, the interview was, again, about the looming crisis disaster that is coming. That's actually not the one that we're dealing with now, but a new one that we are not seeing coming, but will be coming very soon, that according to Bill Gates will be the toughest challenge humanity has ever faced. What is this new Godzilla-sized threat against humanity? Well, it's CO2. And Bill Gates even goes on about how we need different kind of meat, different kind of concrete, different type of lifestyles, how people need to completely change their way of life for the betterment of supposedly everyone, which is pretty interesting coming from Bill Gates, who previously praised China on their handling of the sickness in 2020. That, of course, and the human rights violations of China in the process of doing that wasn't really brought up in this interview by Mr. Anderson Cooper himself. And then, of course, the millionaire and billionaire discussed the need for global cooperation in dealing with this Godzilla-like threat. Very interestingly, there was also a very big emphasis on fighting back people who don't believe him, or as they said on 60 Minutes, combating mistrust in science, forgetting to highlight that essentially science, just like politicians, are up for sale, and that's why many scientists not so long ago were even promoting the use of cigarettes and other horrible things for you like sugar, And because scientists got paid off by special interests, they were able to promote it. Science is about learning through testing and discovery. And sadly, a lot of it has become dogma, a lot of it has become religious, and has been used as a tool to keep the status quo rather than, of course, dare to question it. And of course, many people in the scientific community are scared to question any prevailing logic because of a term called the Bill chill, because of Bill Gates' tremendous amount of money in the medical and scientific community. That, of course, prevents a lot of criticism of him and anything that he does. Now, Bill Gates' 60 Minutes interview is coming at a very interesting time. This, of course, as numbers from the sickness in 2020 have been dramatically going down. Even states with two opposite strategies here, Florida and California, have seen cases, deaths, and hospitalizations go down as far as 30% in a month. The 7-day average has dropped by 64% since January's peak. Hospitalizations have halved almost everywhere in the United States. And this, even according to CNN, is not because of the rushed experimental shot. Yes, CNN is saying that the numbers are going down dramatically without any clear effects from the shot. It's also very interesting to note that a lot of these numbers are dramatically going down right after the inauguration of U.S. President Joe Biden. But before the world could even take a breath and relax, we already have another climate disaster. And it's important to note this in this kind of relation, because even before the sickness in 2020, before that years ago, there was even studies and suggestions by the, quote, medical professionals that we should lock down, that there should be restrictions on travel, specifically not because of a sickness, but because of climate change itself. This was said years ago before the sickness in 2020. Now it's important to note out that some commentators and pundits are calling for these restrictions to stay, lockdown restrictions, travel restrictions, in order to fight climate change. So with all of this happening and the numbers going down, it's interesting to see this kind of larger informational offensive by Bill Gates that's predominantly concentrating on not just climate change, but climate disaster. Bill Gates even went as far as saying that the 2020 sickness is a very easy one to end compared to, of course, the challenges involving ending climate change. Bill Gates has even released a new book called How to Avoid a Climate Disaster, where, of course, he advocates for more government, more regulations, and more use of threat of force for the government to go after you if you don't do what they say. Again, when you look at the history of government regulations, they have predominantly helped out billionaires and the super rich, which of course Bill Gates is a big member of, as he's one of the world's richest people who, unironically, very hypocritically, he's telling everyone that they need to pitch in and do their part and emit less carbon. Now, to say these words are hyperbolic is definitely an understatement. I mean, Bill Gates even took a private jet to the 2015 Paris Climate Summit. He also said that the sickness will come to an end because of the jab, and it's interesting to note here, according to CNN, that's not even happening here. So there's some miscommunication on the larger propaganda talking points here that aren't really working out. And when you essentially look what he's calling for, it's the same policies that made him extremely rich that will punish everyone else. And it's going along with the larger Great Reset economy, as of course Bill Gates is literally detailing how every aspect of our economy needs to change. This is something that, of course, major proponents of the Great Reset, fellow wealthy people like the Rothschild, even the Pope, many multinational corporations and special interests have been advocating for, along, of course, with John Kerry and the Biden administration that say that they are going to be putting it in effect under their rule in the United States. Now, as Bill Gates keeps talking about eating fake meat, making everything electric, I'm sorry, there's room to be skeptical here, to say the least. You even look at his address at Davos, which is held by the World Economic Forum, which is the major proponent of the Great Reset. His focus was not on the shot, the sickness, the current problems, but of course, climate change, which looks like it will be the next big emerging threat that, of course, many powerful people will be focusing on. And as it looks like the sickness might actually be going away, It definitely looks like climate change will be the new talking point, the new unseeable threat looming in the darkness, waiting to get us all. Hey, that's literally what they believe. What do you believe? I'm very interested in your comments down in the description below. I always appreciate your perspective. I'm not always right. I'm always looking to be better, and the best way to be better is to accept constructive criticism, which I highly appreciate it, and it means a lot to me since, of course, it means you care. And because you guys do care, because you guys are still here, this is why I'm here, and this is why I love you guys. Stay tuned for more here on WeAreChange.org.